16-year-old Jenna Bowman and her mother, Beverly Bowman, are suing Jenna's ex-boyfriend, 19-year-old construction worker John Benningfield Jr., for vandalizing her car and for injuries she received when he tried to kill himself.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 213 on the calendar in the matter of Bowman versus Benningfield. Thank you. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
You're Miss Bowman?
I'm Miss Bowman, her mother.
Okay, but you weren't there?
No, I was not there at the time.
Why don't you
Thank you.
Miss Bowman, the defendant is your former boyfriend.
Right.
Who's going to take his hands out of his pockets as we speak. Very good. And according to your complaint, after you broke up with him, two things happened. You claimed that he trashed your car, causing substantial damage, and also in a scuffle over a knife, he caused you to cut yourself, and you want him to pay your medical bills. When did you break up with him, and where did this happen?
At his home on June 27th.
How long had you been going out with him?
Since February.
Did you tell him in person that you were breaking up with him?
Yes, ma'am.
At what time of the day or evening did you tell him?
7.
You broke up with him on the 27th?
Right.
At about 7 o'clock in the evening?
Right.
And then I assume you left?
Right.
Was there any discussion at that time?
No, his sister and I both left after I broke up with him.
What did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
We had gotten in an argument, and I was just like, it's over. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Let's just break up.
Did he say anything?
No, a normal breakup.
I don't remember.
Not like...
And then you left?
Right.
Did you subsequently come back to the house?
Yeah, later on that evening.
What time?
Yes. It was probably around 3 o'clock in the morning.
And who did you come back with?
His sister.
And what happened when you came back at 3 o'clock in the morning?
We went to sleep, and nothing happened. We woke...
Who went to sleep?
Sarah and I.
Where?
In Sarah's room.
Okay. So you went to sleep at 3 o'clock. What happened when you got up?
We woke up.
What time?
Maybe around 11. We were going to the hospital to visit his mom in the hospital, Sarah's mom also. Then we went to the hospital, came back around 4:30, and when I got back, I looked at my car and I noticed that it had been really bad kicked. And
Where had you parked your car?
In their driveway.
Now, when you left at 11 o'clock in the morning to go to visit his mother in the hospital with your friend Sarah,
right.
Did you see your car?
No, I had not paid any attention to it whatsoever.
When was the last time you had actually looked at your car?
And no damage had been done to it?
Yeah.
The day before, on the 27th.
What time?
8.
8 at night?
Right. When Sarah and I had left, there was nothing wrong with my car.
Do you have a photograph of your car after the damage? That was from a movie, right? I always loved that movie, right? What movie was that?
Got to think about that one.
Oh, I know what it was. I know. No. I know what it was. I know what it was. Runaway Bride. It was Runaway Bride.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, no, that's a ladies' movie. Did you see the movie?
No, ma'am.
But you know what I mean when I say look in my eyes.
Yeah.
Try yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So someone did a real number on your car.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you went into the house?
And called my mom, told her what had happened.
And that's why your mom is here, because the car is really your mom's.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
And called the police. She told me to call the police. He was telling me, don't call them, it's not that big of a deal. And I called the police.
Well, did you ask him what happened to the car?
I said, what happened? I don't know.
And he said, I don't know.
Here. Right.
And then you said you were going to call the police?
Right.
And what did he say when you said you were going to call the police?
Don't call the police, it's not that big of a deal.
And what did you say to him?
I said, my mom says I have to. So I went ahead and called the police, made a report, and when I had called the police, the officer came to his house, and the officer came, I made a police report. He said, did he do it? The police officer asked me if he did it and thought I was protecting him, but I didn't have any idea. You know, I thought in my mind that he did do it, but there was no, I saw you do it. So that.
Right. So what happened next?
Well, after the police officer had came, he wanted to talk to me. I was really upset. I was crying. I was really upset. And I was like, no, 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 no. You know, Sarah and I were getting ready. We're going to get dressed, and then we were going to go out that night. And we were arguing, and I don't know how it all started, but he pushed me. Sarah got up. Sarah and him started fighting, and then I got in the fight because I didn't want Sarah or either one of them to get hurt, and we were all just started a big fight, and then he started grabbing knives and was like, I'm gonna...
You're lying.
Go ahead.
He started grabbing knives saying he was gonna kill himself. First he held it to his stomach, then he said to his wrist and everything else. All the meanwhile, Sarah and his 9-year-old cousin are both there. And after that, he had grabbed a steak knife. And he was like, I'm going to kill myself. We were standing over by the refrigerator. Sarah and his cousin were in the living room by the phone getting ready to call the police. And when he went like this, I put my hand like this, and that's how I got stabbed.
So you were trying to
Prevent right.
him from hurting himself?
Exactly.
Okay. Did your cut require stitches?
Yes.
How many?
2. But it is 2.5 centimeters deep. My palm is numb. Half my thumb is numb. I'm still going to hand specialist to see.
Miss Bowman, I just have a couple of questions for you. You break up with this guy. He has a sister who's clearly a friend of yours. Don't you think it's a good idea that after you break up with him, you don't go back to his house and contemplate going out with his sister and hanging out with his sister so that he's aware of all these things?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
His sister was my best friend. We had been...
So what? So let his sister come to your house.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
It's just not smart.
Right.
You know, it sort of says to him, trash to you.
Right.
You know, I'm going out with my friends. I'm going to go have a good time, and I don't care if you're heartbroken, and I don't care if you're miserable, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just not smart.
Right.
Not thinking. You know, you didn't think.
Right.
Anything?
I tried to keep the relationship between us after the incident kind of steady, so...
You can't keep it steady. It was just 24 hours old.
I'm talking about after.
I'm talking about at the time of this incident. The breakup was 24 hours old, and you're gallivanting around town, hanging out and doing whatever you want to do with his sister and coming home 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I'm not being judgmental about that.
Right.
I'm just saying to you, don't do it in front of him,
Right.
because it made him mad.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jenna Bowman says ex-boyfriend John Benningfield Jr. kicked her car in a fit of jealous rage. Jenna also claims she was cut with a knife when John tried to kill himself.
Let us start with incident number 2. Let's hear your version of the knife incident.
Okay, well, see, yeah, we was arguing, you know, and
What were you arguing about?
yeah, I really can't remember. But we was arguing and stuff, and I was like, well, I'm just going to leave. You know, I'm just going to get out of here. And she was like, well, why don't you go kill yourself? Or why don't you go kill yourself? Or something like that in that
Excuse
area.
me?
In that area. And I was like, well, do you want me to? Because I was just so mad, you know, and so frustrated.
What were you mad about?
Just because we broke up, you know. And I did like her, you know, kind of a lot. We went out for, what, 6 months? And, you know, I mean, that's the pretty longest relationship I've ever been in. And,
So you were really mad?
yeah. And I was just like, okay, and I mean, I didn't have it up like this. I had it right here across my, you know, right here. And then my sister tried to stop me, and I was trying to protect the knife so she wouldn't get cut, you know, and then I don't know what happened. Next thing I know, she runs over here, and she gets cut. And then as soon as I see she's cut, I threw the knife in the sink and then helped her, you know, tended to her. Like, I got to town, you know, and started, I told Sarah and them to call 911 because I didn't know, you know, how bad it was. And then, yeah, the police came and...
Well, that was the second time the police had come.
Yeah, yeah.
Police came twice. The first time they came
For
about the car.
Car, yes, ma'am. And they took me. They gave me. They was going to take me to jail, but they
Take you to jail for what?
for assault with a deadly weapon. Because I guess she was going to press charges against me, but they ended up didn't, and then took me to rehab.
Well, she
with her.
really assaulted herself with the deadly weapon that you were
Right.
holding.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Right. That's why they took me to rehab, to the hospital, instead of taking me to jail.
Well, there's a difference between rehab and a hospital.
It's in the hospital. It's rehab in a hospital.
What kind of rehab?
It's
It's a...
I was trying to think. I don't know. It's just they got a bunch of for drugs and for people that are. I guess.
Well, for drugs,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Who were you hanging out with that evening?
Josh Cato, my friend. See, the 27th when her car was we supposedly did it. We was in Gap Hollow in, where is that?
Elizabeth, Indiana.
Elizabeth, Indiana. And we didn't leave there until like 4 o'clock in the morning. And when we left there, we went back to his house. And when we got up at his house about noon, I come back to the house, and she was like, "What did you do to my car? Why did you do this to my car?" And I'm
Well,
like,
at the time she left the evening before with your sister, you weren't in Gap Hollow. You weren't there. You were home because she said, "I'm leaving and I don't want to talk
right,
about it
when
anymore."
they
You
left,
were home.
Right, when they left, we pulled out of the driveway because he parked his truck in our second driveway, and she was parked with my sister and my cousin, and they was going to the hospital.
Who do you think kicked her car?
I have no idea, because his truck said 2 weeks before we moved into that house, somebody took a baseball bat and keyed his truck.
Why would you tell her not to call the police?
I don't remember saying not to call the police.
Yeah, you did. Why would you say don't call the police? It's no big deal.
I have no idea.
Mr. Benningfield, you have no idea?
Right.
I have an idea. Let me see the estimates on the car and let me see the medical bills.
These are the hospital bills.
Give her the estimate, too.
And this is the estimate for my car.
Don't you have insurance on this car, Miss Bowman?
If she hit someone, we only have,
Liability.
because I'm a single parent, I can't afford the.
That's a lot of kicking damage on that car, sir. Need really heavy boots to do a kicking job on a car like that. Miss Bowman, what caused you to break up with the defendant?
Because he was controlling and he was mean, and every time I went out with his sister, I get yelled at when I came back.
How old are you?
16.
How old are you?
19.
Did he ever use any drugs in front of you?
Well, okay.
Answer the question. The
Okay.
answer is yes or no.
Yes.
What kind?
Xanaxes. Can I tell you something? He was taking Xanaxes the day that this
What is
happened.
Xanax?
Xanax is a,
Depressant drug.
right, for,
People that get panic attacks.
right.
How long have you been taking medication?
Like, just pretty much the time we was going out.
Is that by a doctor's prescription?
No, ma'am.
What?
Yeah.
You take that on your own?
Yeah.
Where do you get it from?
Just my friends, people I know.
These people that you know, I assume with medical licenses, know how much to prescribe for you?
They wasn't prescribed. She's making me look like the bad person. She took them herself. She's done everything that I did, she's done.
Mr. Benningfield, the problem is that you caused some damage.
I didn't do that.
Oh yeah, you did. Oh yeah, you did. There's no question in my mind that you did. And there's also no question in my mind, but for the fact that you had taken this knife and were using this knife in a way suggesting that you were going to harm yourself, she wouldn't have gotten stabbed. Now, whether that was a result of taking, try to pay attention. You're 19 years old. Trust me, you don't know everything. You think you know everything. Maybe you think he knows everything. You think you know everything? But for the fact that you probably are operating only on partial cylinders because of this medication that you're taking, sir, you reacted to her breaking up with you in a way that was off balance. Now, am I saying to you that she did the right thing by going out with your sister and still having a relationship with you? The answer is no. I think she acted like an immature 16-year-old. And your chronological age is 18, right?
Right.
Translated, probably about 9. And that's what 9-year-olds do when they don't get what they want. They hit, they scratch, they mark up somebody's walls, they do a whole bunch of things.
She had the police involved. She went and she was going to press charges against me. And I had to go up to Sellersburg Police Department to give them a statement. They said they couldn't do nothing. She supposedly gave them all kind of, witnesses that I supposedly admitted it to them. But them same witnesses, when the cop asked them, did he tell you this? They was like, no.
I don't care what they said, sir. I'm telling you, you trashed her car. You want to know how I know you trashed her car? Because I can see it. I can see what happened when she left and how angry you were. How angry you were even the next day because you said that's why you grabbed the knife, because you were so angry, because you really liked her. And here she was telling you, I'm breaking up with you and I'm going to hang out at bars, friends, whatever, with your sister. And I'm leaving, bye, and she leaves you there all by yourself with your medication and your friend. Grow up. Listen, you both got to grow up. I give you some latitude because you're only 16. You're 19 and no genius. but you're going to pay for the damage. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, which well exceeds damage to the car and your medical bills, $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think it was a great decision.
It's crap that she can see these things.
2 girls told me he kicked my car and that he had a new girlfriend, but I wasn't worried about the new girlfriend. It was just a coincidence.
We was trying to work everything out when all this was going on, and then I just got tired of waiting, and I started with this other girl that I know.
Finally now, she knows, we all know the truth.
And then she found that out, and then this one, all this, she started suing me just to try getting money, because she's for money.
Don't date psychos.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Merrick versus Black. Step forward, please.
19-year-old salesperson Kathleen Merrick is suing her former friend, 19-year-old college student Catherine Black, for the return of a snowboard.
All right, Miss Merrick, you and Miss Black used to be friends. It is your claim that you loaned her a snowboard. While you were friends, you're no longer friends, you want it back. She said it was a gift, right?
Yes.
That's what this is about. When did the snowboard leave your possession and go into her possession?
About a year ago, around this time.
Tell me how that happened.
We were friends and she wanted to go snowboarding and I had an extra snowboard, so I lent it to her.
Where'd you get an extra snowboard
I had
from?
2 snowboards.
From where?
My mom bought them for me.
No, that's not true. Your mother did not buy both for you.
I had 2 snowboards at my house. I
didn't ask you whether you had 2 at your house. I said to you, where did you get them? And you just said your mother bought both of them for you. That's not true. One your mother may have bought for you. Where did the other one come from?
The other one was purchased by my mother too.
Where did the other one come from?
At first she bought one and she went snowboarding and she winded up doing something on the mountain and it broke. So her mom sent it away, and while her mom bought her a new one, while it was away, it shipped away. And by the time they got it back, she already had her other one.
I'm going to read you from your answer. You said it started in October when she broke up with her ex-boyfriend and decided to get back a snowboard that was given to him as a gift while they were together. Did you forget that you wrote that?
No, not at all.
We went and asked his younger sister to go up and get it without him knowing. Once we got it in the car, she decided she had no use for it. Doesn't that sound familiar to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
So according to your answer, she had given the snowboard to an old boyfriend as a present. When they broke up, the 2 of you went and took it back, right?
Yes.
And he wasn't there at the time. He got in the car and she said, I have one already, so you could have this one.
Yes.
I'm so glad at least I had my story straight. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes. We went to go get the snowboard back from the person's house, and I had the snowboard, and I lent it to her to use because we were going to go snowboarding together.
Your Honor, she gave it to me as a gift because...
Get out of here.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 244 on the calendar in the matter of Nickerson versus Monk. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Nickerson, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours, and it is your claim that he purposely totaled your car by smashing into it. This was after he had ceased to be your boyfriend.
Right.
Mr. Monk does not deny that he did, in fact, smash into your car, but he has 2 defenses. One, it was that it was really just an accident, and second, that you should have had more insurance. Right?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure I got it right. When did he cease being your boyfriend?
That night.
It was a good answer. When did this happen?
August 7th.
Where were you?
I was at a friend's house.
Male friend?
Yes.
About what time?
About 7, 8-ish.
He came over.
He followed me.
What happened?
He knocked on the door, and my friend said, I think your boyfriend is outside. I said, oh, no, quit playing. And then he got more furious. Aisha, if you don't come out here. And so I finally...
You mean the defendant got more furious?
Yeah. He started yelling my name, and I was paranoid. And then I finally opened the door, and I came out there, and he was ranting and raving.
What was he saying to you?
Oh, it was belligerent.
What was he saying?
Oh, you know, how could you do this to me? Why are you here? Yada, yada.
And what did you say to him?
You know, I just said I was over a friend's house. By this time, I'm mad because he's embarrassing me at my friend's house. So I was getting upset with him, and I told him none of his business. And then he got more upset. Then this is in the back of the house, and then we're walking. He threw someone's garbage can on the ground, and I'm paranoid. Then I got on my cell phone. I called the police because he was getting violent. He was getting in my face.
He was getting in your face, and he threw somebody's garbage can?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Then we proceeded to the front where my car was parked, and his car was parked on across the street. Okay, and then we were arguing, and then he got in his car. It looks like he was going to take off and leave, but I guess the devil got in him. And so he did a donut and he sped and totaled my car. 360 turn and totaled my car.
What kind of car did you have?
A 2001 Corolla Toyota, 3 months old. My first new car.
Okay. You have a different version of what happened?
Yes.
I'll hear you.
First of all, we were still together on that day when.
Okay, you were still
when
together.
the thing happened, yes. And I did not follow her. I was not following her. I was on my way somewhere else, and I just happened to pass by that area, and I seen her car outside the home.
How big an area do you live in?
What do you mean?
You live in a city or?
Yeah, it's a town. It's a town.
How many people live in that town?
I don't know, a couple thousand, about 50,000.
So you're just around 50,000. So you just happen to be
more,
going down
more.
that street.
Yeah, I was going down that street.
Okay, go ahead.
Where I was going, I was passing that area.
I got you.
But anyway.
Believe me, I got you. Go ahead.
Anyway, so I see her car there. So I was on my way to do something, so I continued to do what I was doing. I called her cell phone.
When you said you saw her car there, was it parked in the street or in a driveway?
Yeah, it was parked on the street. The street I'm going down, if I look that way, I can see her car parked right there. And I know her car, and I know that she knows people that stay in that house. That's why I knew it was her.
Ah, there you go. Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, I proceeded to call her on the phone, and she didn't answer her phone, so that made me suspect something even further. So after I finished doing what I was doing, I came back over there, and I knocked on the door. Nobody answered, so that, like she said, that made me more mad, and I was getting restless and upset. So I was calling her name out, and finally she came out. We got in a heated discussion. Things were getting too hot, you know, I was getting too upset, so I jumped in my car and I proceeded to leave. My car was parked opposite of hers on the other side of the street. I went to make a U-turn. By this time, I'm so upset that I'm driving reckless. So I lost control when I was coming back after making a U-turn, and my car went into hers.
Right. Okay, now, let's talk about the damage. The car's been totaled?
It's totaled. It was not up.
What kind of insurance did you have on this brand new car?
The worst insurance in the world. Due to my age, I had to go with the cheap insurance. So I went to this place, but it was full coverage because you can't drive it off the lot without full coverage. So they're telling me they can only pay the blue book. So apparently the dealer must have gotten over on me on the overall price of the car, which, regardless of the case, I paid for it. That was my decision.
Let me see the paperwork. How old are you?
24.
So, according to this letter from the insurance company, they're prepared to give you $14,541.
Right.
And did you have a loan on this car?
Yes.
And what was the total loan amount on the car?
$19,100 something.
Who went with you to buy this car?
He did.
Did you shop around at all?
Yeah. I was shocked I got approved. I was happy. It had a nice steering wheel.
A nice what?
Steering wheel. Leather.
What kind of work do you do?
I work at customer service.
For whom?
Kaiser.
For how long?
3 years.
How much do you earn?
Not a lot.
How much do you earn?
Yearly, about $30,000.
How many payments did you make on this car?
Like 4 payments.
And how much were your payments?
$365.
A month?
Yes. Plus $120 of that insurance.
120 of the 365 was for insurance?
Mm-hmm, the insurance. That lousy insurance. Can I say their name? The insurance name?
Sure.
I can?
Sure.
They suck.
Good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Aisha Nickerson claims ex-boyfriend Carl Monk crashed into her car during a jealous rage. Carl says it was definitely an accident.
What percentage of interest do you have on this loan, do you know?
10%, 10.9.
You're not a very good shopper.
I was just with her. I wasn't helping her along.
Well, you have to deduct the payments that you've already made to the company, because you don't have a payout figure, do you?
No.
Okay. That would leave a balance that you owe the company of about $3,765. Now, Mr. Monk, you hit a car.
Yes.
Gotta
It was an
pay.
accident.
Well, it wasn't her accident. It was your accident.
But it was an accident.
No, it wasn't her accident. It was your accident. She wasn't in her car. Her car was standing. Her car didn't move over to your car, right?
Right.
You hit her car.
True.
All riled up, angry, whatever else it was. Her car's not responsible for your anger. You are. So you got to pay her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,765. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't agree with it.
I think justice was served.
Yeah, don't act on emotion.
Stay single.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Staley versus Thompson, step forward, please.
37-year-old trucker John Staley says during a visit with his sister, 38-year-old customer service rep Terry Thompson, she attacked him with a hammer. John says Terry lied to police and had him arrested for domestic violence.
Mr. Staley, the defendant is your sister.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, she filed a false police report causing you to be arrested, spending a day in jail. Those charges were subsequently dismissed, but you want her to pay for your lost wages.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right? When did this incident occur that caused you to be arrested?
August 9th,
And where did it take place?
at the defendant's home of residence.
What were you doing there?
On August 9th, I came home to my home, and I found my niece, my oldest niece, on the phone.
Your
I asked
oldest
her-
niece is your daughter?
Yes.
Go ahead.
She was calling people on the phone, and she advised me that her car had broken down. She didn't have any money on her, and she needed help getting the car towed to get the car fixed. And she asked for my assistance. At the point, I didn't really have any money, but as we were discussing this, the tow truck showed up at my residence. So I told Lori to go with the tow truck driver to go get the car, have the vehicle towed, and I would go to the bank, withdraw money to pay for the towing. And Lori needed to go back to her mother's house, so I took Lori back to her mother's house, and that's what I was doing there.
And what happened when you got there?
I walked with Lori upstairs to the apartment. I stayed in the hallway.
Your Honor,
of the-
don't put your hand up yet. You'll have an opportunity to tell me your side of the story.
I stayed in the hallway while Lori went in and got her things, and there was a discussion that Terry made about that I owed her an apology over an incident that took place 2 years ago.
Have you spoken to your sister since?
I haven't spoken to my sister since February or March of this year.
But you were outside in the hallway.
I was in the hallway of the apartment.
She came out to the hallway
Yes, she did.
to tell you
She
that
wanted an apology, and she made some statements, and I told her she needed to get her facts straight on that issue, but I wasn't going to apologize for this incident. It's 2 years old, and there was no need, and I felt I was in the right of that incident.
Okay.
And she told me to leave, and I tried telling her that I needed to take Lori back to get her car, and she said, "No, you're not." She demanded that I leave, and if I didn't leave, she was going to go in, get a hammer, and she was going to beat me with the hammer. And I said, fine. So I turned around, I started walking down the steps. I was on the second step when my sister tried shoving me down the stairs. As she was pushing for me from behind, I turned around with my arm, I raised my arm in defense, and at the same time, I tried to maintain my balance on the stairwell.
Had she gotten the hammer?
Not at that point. She got hysterical and everything. She started screaming out loud, and she ran back into her apartment. And I started walking down the stairs, and I was at the first turnaround. There's 3 flights of stairs, and there's a turnaround at one point, and that's when she emerged with the hammer from the apartment.
Did she come down the stairs to
Yes,
where
she
you
did.
were?
I started running down the stairs. I was at the bottom of the stairs when we came together, and she went to swing the hammer, and I put my hands up in a high blocking fashion, and the hammer caught my right forearm, and then I returned a kick to Terry, kicking her away from me, and this bought me a couple seconds to get out the door. Terry then chased me out the door, and I turned and I tossed my keys at Terry. I missed Terry, and my keys went into the bushes on the east side of the doorwell. And then she continued to swing the hammer, and she started yelling to her neighbors, "Call 911! I'm being assaulted!" as she was swinging the hammer.
Did you report this to the police?
Yes, I did.
When?
What happened was Lori came out, and I ended up taking Lori back to her car.
When did you report this to the police?
After I dropped my niece off at her car, I went straight to the sheriff's department.
And what happened when you got there?
They interviewed me, and I told them about the apology and
Told them the story.
told them the story. They said they had to talk to Terry about the hammer because she didn't originally tell them about the hammer.
And they come back and they said she admitted to using the hammer and that I admitted to kicking her. And as far as they were concerned, this was mutual combat. And their policy is to take one of us to jail. They elected me because I was already there.
And subsequently, the charges were dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see your paperwork, please. Now, Ms. Thompson, you tell me your version of these events, please.
He's been told several times, this would meaning the 5th time of this year, that he doesn't need to be over harassing me or coming over to my apartment. There's no reason for him to be over there since we do not get along. There's been a few domestic disputes in the past.
Whatever. Your daughter came home to gather some stuff. Your brother is standing outside in the hallway of your apartment. What happened from there?
Okay. Well, I buzzed my daughter to get in. I only seen my daughter get in.
Fine. Your brother is standing in the landing.
He pushed his way in my apartment.
Where was he in the apartment?
He was standing in the living room.
Is the living room as soon as you enter into the door?
Yep.
Fine. Okay. So he's standing in the living room. What happened next?
He was trying to say hi, and he was being very much agitating and aggressive. And I said, why are you here? You know, you don't get along. We don't get along.
What did he tell you?
He was very much trying to say hi,
No,
very
Ms. Thompson,
jumping up and down.
Ms. Thompson, pay careful attention to me.
Okay.
He was there because he had brought your daughter there, right?
He could have waited in the car.
Just a second. Answer my question.
Yes.
He was there because he brought your daughter there.
Yes.
And he was waiting for her.
No.
He took her back to get her car.
That's correct.
Right. She got her things, and eventually, after this altercation, she left with him. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, I want you to tell me about this hammer that you admit that you hit him with.
First, he punched me first before I got a chance.
Where did that take place?
It happened in the hallway.
What level of the staircase did it happen, where he punched you?
On the 2nd level.
Was he in front of you or behind you?
He was in front of me.
What were you doing following him out of the building?
He was still agitating me the whole way.
What were you doing following him as he was leaving the building?
Your Honor, he's constantly over in my apartment.
I don't care about constantly over. I'm asking you, he's leaving. You told him to leave. He's on his way down the stairs.
Right, agitatingly.
Not agitating, leaving the building. Whether he's leaving the building and he's saying words to you or he's not saying words to you, he's leaving. If he was agitating you, you close your door to your apartment, you say, my goodness, I'm glad he's out of here. You close the door, case closed. What were you following him for?
To make sure I didn't want him to come back.
Oh. When did you get the hammer?
I got it out from my closet in my apartment.
What did you call the police for?
I've constantly called the police.
No, I don't care constantly. What did you call the police for today, that day?
Because he was over again at my apartment harassing me.
Miss Thompson, was your daughter moving out of your apartment? Is that why she came over?
No, she just wanted one thing, a paycheck. She was in there for a second and out.
So she just came home to get a paycheck, right?
Right.
When did she tell you that she was just there to get a paycheck?
She didn't even bother telling me.
She walked in the door and you said something.
He followed her up.
When your daughter walked in the house,
okay,
did she tell you what she was doing there?
No, first she said, John is behind me.
Fine.
And then he pushed his way in. And then she went to get her check to get him out of there.
That's not why she went to get her check. That is not why she went to get her check. She came to the house because she had to get a check. She asked him for a ride. He was not there uninvited by someone who lives in your house. Does your daughter live with you? Does your daughter live with you?
No, she doesn't.
Did she live with you then?
No.
Okay, but her check was in your home?
She came over to visit me, and the check was in her pants pocket, and she came back to pick up her check.
So she leaves clothes in your house?
There's times she visits.
So she leaves clothes in your house?
Yes.
So she invited him to drive her home. She walked in and said to you, John's behind me. Not John's behind me, he's stalking me. He followed me here in order to hurt you.
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
No, he didn't, Miss Thompson. Now, Miss Thompson, you told him to leave, and he was leaving. And your daughter was still upstairs. You're the one who gets agitated. Because you were following him down the stairs, you went upstairs, and you got a hammer.
And he couldn't stay in his car?
He could have stayed in his car.
Mm-hmm.
Sure he could have. That doesn't give you license to go and get a hammer and assault him with a hammer. That doesn't give you license to do that. He's not a stranger. It's not somebody that you don't know. You may not get along with your brother, Miss Thompson, but that doesn't give you license to pick up a deadly weapon and to use it at all. And you're absolutely responsible for his lost day's wages, which in this case, all he's suing for is $134.84. You got it. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 16 on the calendar in the matter of Craig versus Kane. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Ms. Craig, it is your claim that the defendant assaulted you at a high school reunion. By the way, when was the reunion?
November 22nd.
2000?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you know her?
She is my ex-husband's fiance.
Anthony is my husband.
And you used to be married to her?
That's my ex-wife.
Okay, so this is not the fiance. They are married?
Yes.
Did you know that?
No, Your Honor.
Well, they are married. Okay, have you ever had any problems with her before?
Well, prior to the incident, they had called CPS on me and fabricated lies about me.
When had they called Child Protective Services?
It was about 3 weeks to a month prior to that.
What was the complaint?
They were fabricating lies saying that I was a drug user and that domestic violence in my home. And the CPS had came to my house and my children's school and my work and everything, and they closed the case prior to my reunion.
Does your ex-husband see the children?
He sees the children on and off. He hasn't been seeing them lately for the past couple weeks.
Okay, so that's the backdrop. Then you all go to the reunion. I assume you all went to high school together.
Yes.
And tell me what happened when you got to the reunion.
I showed up at the reunion at approximately 9:30. I paid $75 just for myself to go. And I was walking around talking to my friends, and I was looking for this man in a blue and the black shirt. I remembered him from 10th grade. I wasn't sure of his name, but I was asking numerous people, where's this guy in the blue and the black shirt? Because I just wanted to dance and have a good time. Well, I walked outside on the patio to have a cigarette. I looked to my left, and I saw him sitting at a table. And I walked over to the table, and I said, oh, James, because we had name tags on. And he lit my cigarette. When I bent down to light my cigarette, I saw Maida out of the corner of my eye talking to two of her girlfriends. She appeared to be upset. Her girlfriends were huddling like over her, like she appeared to be upset. I just said to James, I said, you know, would you like to dance when we go back in after having our cigarette? I'm really glad I came. You know, I'm seeing a lot of people I haven't seen for a while, and that's about as far as I got. At this time, Maida approached me from the side. She got like this close to my face, and she says, did you even graduate? And she appeared to be, you know, drinking, maybe intoxicated, I don't know, you know, because the reunion started at 6. And I said, of course I did, Maida. And at that time, she pushed me down. I fell down. I was wearing a dress. I have a cut on my leg and injuries. I have photos.
Just a second. She pushed you down how?
She just pushed me down, physically pushed me down. I fell down and I cut my leg. When I proceeded to get up, I wore my hair down that night, and she had got my head into a firm like headlock, and there was big heating lamps there at the Mission Inn in Riverside, and she was trying to bang my head into one of those heating lamps. And at this time, because of the fabricated lies, you know, I'm not going to lose.
Shh, just a second. Don't tell me fabricated lies.
Well,
just tell me what happened.
Well, due to the prior incidents of them calling CPS, I cannot even touch her, not even in self-defense. At this time, after she pushed me and I started to get back up, I placed my hands right here, like I'm not even going to touch you. I refused to touch her.
Why, is there an order of protection against you?
No, I just refused to touch her.
What do you mean? I don't understand. You said, due to the prior incident with CPS, I'm not allowed to touch her or go near her.
Because of them calling CPS, I was afraid that they would lie and I would go to jail and I would lose my kids if I even defended myself one bit. So I did not even touch her, Your Honor, not once. My hands were behind my back the whole time. At this time, James saw that I wasn't even defending myself.
Don't tell me what anybody else saw. Just tell me what happened.
He stood up behind me and barricaded me because he saw I wasn't defending myself. At this time,
Don't tell me what he saw, madam. Just tell me what happened.
Okay,
James stood up and barricaded himself around you.
Okay, barricaded himself around me. At this time, she still had my head, and she couldn't bang it into the heating lamp because he was standing behind me, so she was proceeding with her nail around like this, trying to poke my eye out, and that's when I got scratches in my eye and a black eye. And at this time, the security guards came running out, and she released my head prior to them running out and screamed, Jennifer, quit hitting me, quit hitting me. She's a psychotic drug addict, and she's going to lose her kids to CPS in front of my whole reunion. And at that time, I ran because I was in such shock to go find my purse to call the police on my cell phone. Police came. There was a police report made. I left in the ambulance and went to Riverside Community Hospital.
Okay. Do you have a copy of your medical report and any photographs you want to show me?
There's the medical report. Did you want to see photos?
Yes.
Medical bills.
What are you showing me in this picture with your hands together like this?
That one, I was just showing that I had a bruise on my wrist from where I was holding my wrist, and also to show that I had all my nails on, because if I was fighting back in self-defense, I definitely would not have any nails on.
Okay. All right, let's see your version of what happened.
It was the night of, I believe it was November 25th, at my 10-year reunion, when I was out on the patio with my friends. We were at 2 tables. James was with us, and she approached us at the patio, and she asked Nancy if it was the smoking section. Nancy replied no, and she ignored Nancy, and she kept talking to James, who was clearly with us. When I got up to leave the premises is when I made a comment about, because I was shocked that she came because she didn't graduate from Norco. She didn't walk in commencement with us. And when I walked out, I made a comment about her not graduating from Norco High. As I was leaving, she pushed me.
How did she push you?
She just pushed me.
You didn't fall over or anything?
No.
She just pushed you with her hands?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And so I've seen her assault other people, and I was scared, and so I reacted, and I grabbed her by her hair, and I held her against this pole so that I could secure myself. And when she was kicking is when I had to use my left leg to protect myself from her right leg. When Michelle went and got the security guards, that was when they split us both up. She was kicking and screaming, yelling, I assaulted her, which is when she called the police and took the ambulance.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jennifer Craig says her ex-husband's new wife, Maida Kane, assaulted her at their high school reunion. Maida says Jennifer started the fight.
Ms. Craig, did you in fact graduate from this school?
No, I graduated from Buena Vista because I went to cosmetology school also.
Just listen to me. You did not graduate from this school.
No.
So what were you doing there at a 10th year reunion?
I went through Norco High through all my high school years except for my senior year, and I thought about it and I wanted to go.
Did you know that they would be there?
No, Your Honor, I did not know.
Well, did you know that they graduated from that high school?
I knew that she graduated from the high school, but I didn't know that she was attending the reunion. If I would have known...
But you knew that she went to that high school.
Right, and so did I.
You're not listening. You knew that she went to that high school so that there was a chance that she would be there, right?
Right.
So it was really rather foolish of you to put yourself into that situation where there was clearly recent hostility with regard to the children and your former husband and his fiancée. I don't understand why you even put yourself in that situation. It's really kind of foolish to do that. You don't agree with that?
Well, Your Honor, I wasn't sure whether they were going to be there or not.
Even if you suspected.
And I didn't want to miss my 10-year reunion. And I don't.
It wasn't your reunion.
Yes, it was, because I knew a lot of people there that I went to high school with. And I didn't want to miss my 10-year reunion, and I don't...
You keep saying 10-year reunion. It wasn't your 10-year reunion. You didn't graduate from this high school. I can understand you wanting to see people that you went to school with. But as opposed to going there with these people who you had a recent problem with, and you suspected that they might be there because you knew she graduated from there, smart would have been to say, I'll see them at some other time. Did you, in fact, when she came up to you and said, did you graduate from here? I didn't know you graduated, which is something you didn't need to say. It was a gratuitous dig, right?
Yes.
Unnecessary. All you have to do is walk out, right?
Correct.
Were you there?
Yes, I was.
Step up. Were you 2 people there?
Yes.
Then I don't need the husband. Sit down. I'd rather hear from you. Tell me your name.
Nancy.
Nancy what?
Farrell.
Miss Farrow, you were there from the beginning?
Yes, when we were outside on the patio and she approached us.
Tell me what you observed.
Me and Michelle were standing at the chair, or at the table. Maida was sitting down. James was at a separate table by himself next to us.
James, the blue shirt.
The blue shirt guy. And I was kind of bent over talking to Maida when I saw Jennifer approaching us. And she walked up, sashaying, "Is this the smoking section? None of us are smoking. We don't smoke." I said no. Telling her, like, "We don't want you here. Get away." So she still came by and stopped and talked to James. And then that's when Maida got up and made the comment.
No, don't. Let me hear. Come on. Let me hear the whole thing.
Well, Maida got up, walked by her, and made the comment about, "You didn't even graduate," or "Did you graduate from here?" And that's when Jennifer pushed her, and then that's...
How did she push her?
Just, you know, not like to knock her over, but she touched her. And so that was enough to make, I guess, both of them upset, and they just...
Oh, it was enough
patted
to make...
each other.
It was clearly enough to make the defendants upset.
Yes.
And then she reacted.
Correct.
You think, Ms. Kane, that you overreacted?
I don't know if you can overreact when you're scared.
Well, being scared is one thing, but you precipitated this.
I was holding her to defend myself.
No,
from someone
why were
that
you
I
defending
believed is
yourself? She
violent.
pushed you. Show me how she pushed her again. Right. Didn't fall over, nothing happened. But according to you, you know she's a violent person, so you defended yourself. And you defended yourself by throwing her into a headlock and punching her a couple of times.
No, I was holding
Punching her a
her.
couple of times. Evidently, she fell down. I mean, she has bad bruises over here on her leg. What?
Can I say something?
Sure. Why
About
don't
this
you
whole
both sit
about
down?
the whole thing and how it started.
Sure.
If I may. Okay. With regards to what Jennifer was saying about me calling CPS on her and having absolutely no reason and fabricating lies, I'd like to touch that real quick. Maida and I went over to drop my children off after he had them a whole weekend on Sunday. We pull up, and she's out in the front yard with her boyfriend, the father of her child, her other child, kicking him, slapping him, slamming his car door on his face. And I told him and her that I wasn't going to leave until she let him go, because obviously he wanted to leave. She wasn't going to let him. At this time, my 2 children are standing in the park with 15 other kids that live in that complex, watching this whole thing go on. That's where the understanding comes in. The minute she raised her hands, I wouldn't expect anything less of my wife than to defend herself against somebody that's violent like that. Not only that, but there's been lots of violence throughout the whole time that we've been separated and the whole time that I was married to her. A lot of violence.
That may be. Your wife should have kept her mouth shut.
Well, that's true.
Okay. What made you think that there was drug use in the house?
My kids have both mentioned smoking and unfamiliar smell. My son's very nervous. He's 9 years old and he's still soiling his underwear. I have a tape, we have here audio, of Jennifer actually calling the house and having my daughter get on the phone and ask where the child support is, the child support money's at, telling me she's going to come over to my house. And then actually that night we did tape that. She did come over and she kicked my door in.
Sounds to me as if these kids are not seeing very good examples
Well,
set.
we
Where
have
was
the
the
tape
child
if
support?
you'd like to hear it.
Where was the child support?
The child support was pouring in at $800 a month. I'm only $10,000 behind on my child support, and I've been paying child support for 3 years.
$10,000 is a lot of money.
It is, and I agree with that, and I'm paying it back as well as still paying currently.
Why did you fall $10,000 behind the child
Well,
support?
what happened was I changed careers, and I dropped down to making a very low amount of money that would barely keep me going. I gave her what I could, and I went to court.
How long ago did you fall behind?
This was 2.5, 3 years ago.
In the past 2 years, have you been current in your child support?
Yes, I have.
They take it out of your salary?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, can I just say something regarding about that incident when he was saying that I dropped off the kids?
Go ahead.
Okay, prior to when I was moving in that night, I had some friends moving me in, and they came to drop the kids off. Well, Joe, my boyfriend, was outside talking to them. I walked outside to see where he was. At this time, Maida flips me off, and I was like, what's up with that? And they're sitting there saying that I'm harassing them, starting a fight with them. I didn't even do anything.
So you're telling me you didn't have a fight with your
I
boyfriend?
didn't even do anything. No, Your Honor.
No, listen to me. You're telling me that you didn't have a fight with your boyfriend?
No.
I'm not sure if I believe that.
I didn't.
I'm not sure if I believe that.
And when I walked out, she had flipped me off in front of my children.
Maybe she did that, but I'm not sure that you didn't have a fight with the boyfriend.
No, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. Ever smoke marijuana in your house?
No, Your Honor, I do not. I smoke cigarettes, and that's it. See, prior to this...
Shh, don't say see.
He had...
Shh, listen to me. Is what you're telling me that you've never smoked drugs in your house?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct. He had a hair follicle drug test taken on me in court that I had passed. I don't use drugs, and he just fabricates lies because he has child support.
Her and her mother got in an argument, and Jennifer's mother wasn't allowed to see the children. And Maida and I had talked about that, and I said it's not right because she's done it to everybody in my family. She's done it to everyone on my side of the family, and she started doing it to her side of the family because her and her mother got in a fight. Her mother was the only stable thing in those kids' life at that point, and I knew that. I was only seeing them every other weekend and once a week, you know, on Wednesdays, and I knew what was going on. So I called her mom and I said, hey, anytime you want to come over here and see the kids, you're more than welcome, blah, blah, blah. Her mother comes over and tells me that she knew she did a bad thing. And I said, well, what's that? Well, she knew that Jennifer was on drugs and went on the internet and got the chemicals that you need to put on your hair to wipe everything off your hair follicles. That was the first person that told me that. The second person that told me that was her boyfriend, Joe, because they were fighting, and he told me, you know, he came over to the house going, I don't know how you dealt with it as long as you did, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, you know, to be totally honest with you, I did what I did, and it's over. I found somebody I'm really happy, you know, and there it is.
Mr. Kane, just keep a close eye on things. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I understand.
Good. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. All right, now I have to get to this claim. Ms. Craig, let me tell you what I believe. I believe that the defendant said something that was totally unnecessary to you when she said either, I didn't know you graduated, or did you graduate from here? It was a gratuitous dig that was pretty stupid. I also believe that you pushed her after she said it to you. Oh, yes, I believe that you pushed her. I don't believe that you hurt her. I believe that you, as indicated, pushed her. Did you have a right to do that? No. Did you hurt her? No. And was her response to being pushed consistent with the threat? The answer is no. Okay. You overreacted, and you can't do that. I honestly believe that you could have avoided the problem with her totally by just walking out. Keep walking, right? Said not a word. You didn't do that. She's not responsible. You're responsible. I think that there's more to the underlying case here with regard to the background, what's going on in her house, but I can't get into that now. That's just a sense, which is why I said to you, just be vigilant. Do you understand? But you are responsible for her medical bills, and I believe that you are also responsible for some of her pain and suffering. I also think that you have certain responsibility because you were the first person to put your hands on her. I honestly believe that you pushed her first. I believe that because that would be a natural reaction by somebody who has somebody coming up right in their face and saying something that was nasty. You might not hit her, and I don't think you hit her. You shoved her out of the way. Did not require the defense that you attribute to, well, I knew her history as of being a violent person, so I defended myself. Do you understand? You had medical bills of $1,441.39, and I believe you were probably out of work for a couple of days. And I believe that you had some pain and suffering, and I'm entering a judgment for $3,000 in favor of the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 215 on the calendar in the matter of Lee versus Kearney Yawan. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Ms. Lee, according to your complaint, the defendant was living in your home. You were living there with a friend of yours, and he was the friend's boyfriend. Is that right?
Yes.
And you claim that he started a fire in your home, caused substantial amount of damage. You want him to pay for all of the damage. The defendant's answer indicates that, well, it was an accident. And two, he fixed a lot of the damage, and there should not be anything that requires any professional attention. Is that right, sir?
That's right.
Okay. When did this happen?
Well, it took place around February of 2000. It was close to midnight, where he had apparently started the fire by himself. And somehow he had used kerosene, and it got out of hand. He left a trail of kerosene from the front door to the fireplace. So when he started to light the fire, it trailed back, of course, to the front door on the hardwood floor as well.
You have pictures of the damage?
Yes, I do.
Were you in the house at the time?
Yes, I was.
The fire was extinguished so that nobody was hurt?
Correct.
Fortunately?
Fortunately,
okay.
Yes.
What's this dollar bill doing on your floor?
Oh, I had a friend took that, and he just put the dollar bill there just to focus in on the area.
I see. I assume that's the ceiling, smoke on the ceiling?
Correct.
Okay. Why did you light a fire with kerosene?
Well,
Oh, no, well over here.
Okay.
Well is not an answer.
That's actually the part that is not true. I didn't try to light up the fireplace with the kerosene.
How did you light the fire?
Well, okay, the truth is that I think it's about on June last year, and it's not on February.
You needed a fire in June?
Yeah.
Was it very cold?
June 31st, yeah.
It was very cold. Where do you live?
In Seattle.
Even in Seattle, it's cold enough in the summertime that you have to light a fire?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it can get very cold, yeah. And I noticed at that time also it was raining outside.
What time of the day or evening did you light this fire?
Well, that's the thing that I'm not quite sure also. I have already totally forgot about this whole incident.
How many fires have you lit in your life that caused damage?
Yeah, that's...
How many is my question.
This is the first time.
Then I would remember it. Do you understand? You almost burned the house down.
Yes.
How did it happen?
Okay, I
Do
have
you
a
remember
drink.
how it happened?
Yes,
Sir?
I remember.
You remember clearly how it happened?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So at that time that it was late at night, and then I was setting up the fireplace, and then after that I go make myself a drink.
What time were you setting up the fireplace?
It's probably around 10 o'clock.
Didn't you have to get up early in the morning?
Yes, I do. Because that I thinking I was just going to set up the fireplace for about an hour, and then after that I will
slowly,
extinguish
sir.
it.
You thought you were setting up the fireplace and what?
For about only an hour.
Fires don't last for only an hour.
Yeah, but I decided that later on I will just extinguish it myself and then go to bed because I have to work in the morning.
How'd the fire start?
Okay, like I said, that when I get up and then try to make a drink, I have this vodka on my hand, and then I lit up the fire. I didn't use any kerosene or anything. It was a dry wood, so I just start up the fire right away. And then approximately after about 15 minutes or so, I decided I need to go to the restroom. So I go to the fireplace, and then put more wood into the fireplace. And then at that time, I put the glass with the vodka in front of the fireplace. And then I just totally forgot because that it's dangerous.
Had a little too much vodka.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes.
Had a little too much vodka.
Yes.
There you go. I knew we were going to find the answer, sir, if we just kept going. So it wasn't an accident. It wasn't on purpose. It was caused by you having a little too much Stoli or whatever you were drinking.
That's right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you have to take care of the damage. Now, what did you do to take care of the damage?
Well, the next morning that I told...
Fire department came?
No, it didn't. Even though the fire alarm went off because of that.
No firemen came?
No. Your Honor, my son, the fireplace was about 10 feet away from his front bedroom door. And when he heard the alarm went off, he quickly went out. He went to the front yard, took the hose, and came in and hosed it down and extinguished it.
There was damage. Damage to the floors, damage to the door, damage to walls, you know, soot. What did you do to fix all that?
Well, I told my ex-girlfriend that I feel responsible for setting up the fire, causing the fire.
Of course.
Yeah.
You are responsible.
And then I feel bad about it, and then I'm going to fix it. So the next morning, I didn't go to work, and then I start from the painting the front door because it got the smoke stain on that front door. And also after that, I also fixed the hardwood floor just by sanding it, and then.
Did you buy a sander?
No, just like the sandpaper.
That's not the way you fix a floor, sir. You don't take a little piece of sandpaper and just go over areas. You got to do the whole floor.
Yeah. That's the thing is that because I noticed that only like there's like a small black stain on that hardwood floor caused by that fire.
So you just took a little piece of sandpaper and went over it.
Mm-hmm.
What else did you do?
And I also paint the ceiling, not the ceiling, but the wallpaper.
You painted over a wallpaper.
Mm-hmm. Only on the portion that got the smoke.
You're not a decorator, are you, by profession? Huh?
No.
I didn't think so. So that's what you did. You painted over the wallpaper. You took a little piece of sandpaper and you went over the floor in certain spots,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And you painted over the front door. Now, before you painted over the front door, what did you do to get off the soot and the smoke and where it had been charred? Did you sand it down? Did you remove all the paint?
No, I didn't.
You just smeared a coat of paint over it.
That's right. I'm not a handyman, so.
When you cause damage to somebody else's property, sir, you may not be a handyman, but if you cause the damage, then you're supposed to get a professional to take care of it. You're not supposed to do it yourself. Let me see estimates of your damage. Do you have homeowners insurance?
Well, Your Honor...
Well is not an answer. My question is, did you have homeowners insurance? Why not?
At the time, I was changing insurance companies, and the 2 weeks had lapsed, and this incident took place during that 2 weeks.
Is this your own home?
Yes.
I want to see proof that you didn't have insurance. I want to see proof of that, because you're not going to collect twice. Do we understand each other?
Yes.
I'm really smart.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Victoria Lee says her friend's ex-boyfriend, Kiet Kurniawan, damaged her home when he started a fire with kerosene. Kiet says the damage occurred because he left his vodka next to the fireplace.
Now, we're going to bring me something from your insurance company indicating a lapse in coverage at a particular time. Do you have that information?
Yes, Your Honor. I managed to get a letter from the insurance company, as well as a copy of my current insurance, which will show that I started a new insurance as of July 13th, 2000.
And that's in Seattle, Washington?
Yes.
When did you purchase the home?
January of 2000.
How much did you purchase it for?
$240.
You have a mortgage?
Yes, I do.
What's the mortgage?
$189.
If you have a mortgage, you have to have insurance.
Yes.
The lender requires that you have insurance, and if you don't have insurance, they get insurance for you. So if you had to show proof at the closing that you had insurance, everybody knows that. What kind of business are you in?
I'm a mortgage consultant.
You got it. Do we understand each other?
Yes, Your Honor. But my home had closed in January, beginning of January, and then I had wanted to switch insurance company after it had closed. And I was hoping that the lender would not find out, which they didn't. So I did go ahead and get insurance with a different company as of July the 13th.
So what you're telling me is you fraudulently misrepresented to your lender that your premises was insured. Is that right?
No, it was insured at the time of the closing, Your Honor.
Well, at the time of the closing in January, if it was insured in January, it would have been insured in February, when you say the fire took place.
I wanted to change insurance company, so I had canceled it.
Well, that's not his problem. He had an accident in your house. If you had insurance, which you should have had, then you would have been totally covered. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I fixed it. And I actually told my ex-girlfriend that I will fix it.
Don't you let your insurance lapse.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brewer versus Oldham, step forward, please.
38-year-old woodworker Karen Brewer is suing 28-year-old grocery manager Johnny Oldham for reward money that was promised for finding his toy poodle.
Miss Brewer, according to your complaint, you found a dog that turned out to be the defendant's dog. The dog was returned to the defendant, and you believe that there had been a reward for the dog, $500, I believe. You want the reward money.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you find this dog?
My daughter and I was coming back from a Little Rock, and we found it on June the 24th. It was running, dodging cars across the interstate, and we saw it, we stopped, and we picked it up, and we had called the number that was on the tag, which was his phone number and the veterinarian's number. Was unable to reach anybody, so the following day...
What day of the week was the 24th of June?
It was on Sunday.
Okay, go ahead.
On the 25th, I had called the vet and reported that I found the dog and where, and left my name and phone number with them.
Did you speak to a person or an answering machine?
I spoke to the person.
Okay.
Later Monday night, the dog was having seizures. So I called the vet the following next day to see if they were able to locate him, and they still didn't. And I had continued to keep calling his home because they gave me his name and his address and everything.
Did you do anything for the dog when the dog was having seizures?
I just did what the veterinarian said, just stay with them and talk to them and just be there with them.
What kind of dog was it?
It's a poodle.
You have any animals of your own?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
What kind of animals?
I have Chihuahuas and a Basset Hound.
So you have small ones and then one short one, but long.
Short and
long. Heavy.
Big ears.
Big ears. Go ahead.
I continued to keep calling all week, and we finally got a hold of him on Friday, or to his wife.
Almost a week later.
Yes,
found the dog on a Sunday. The following Friday, you
Yes,
got
ma'am.
in touch with him. Okay, you spoke to his wife.
I had spoken to his wife, told her my name and phone number, and that I had found the dog and where, gave her my address for them to come pick it up. And she had told me about a reward money.
Where's your wife?
She's at home with our children.
Go ahead.
I didn't even know anything about the reward money. His wife had told me, and she said that they have not told their kids because they didn't know what to say to their kids.
Did she say she was paying the reward money?
No, ma'am. She said that a kennel was.
So who came to pick up the dog?
He did about an hour later.
And you gave him the dog?
I gave him the dog.
Did you have a discussion with him about this reward money?
He told me that he had talked to the kennel, and the reward money still stood since I had found the dog, and he's going to make sure I got the reward money.
That's what he said to you?
That's not what
Shh, just a second. That's what he said to you?
That's exactly what he said in front of my daughter and my son and nephews.
Okay. And you never got the reward money?
No, ma'am. He went and picked it up.
Okay. Now, Mr. Oldham.
Yes, ma'am.
I gather that you were on vacation, which is why the dog was kennelled, according to what I read in your papers.
Yes, it was.
When did you go on vacation?
I left on a Saturday afternoon.
And how long were you and your family away?
Till Thursday afternoon.
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry. We got back on a Friday. I apologize.
Good. Now, during the time you were away on vacation, you had no idea that this dog that you had put in a kennel,
No.
right? Let me finish my question, then you can say no. While you were away for that week, you had no information that your dog that you had placed in a kennel had somehow gotten loose, escaped, been lost. Is that right?
That's right.
So you get home Friday, and you get a call from the plaintiff.
Yes, ma'am.
Who told you she had your dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And you went and got your dog.
That's not exactly how the events took place.
Well, tell me how they took place.
Okay, we got back home that afternoon, and my mother-in-law called me, first of all, and told me that the dog had been stolen from the kennels.
Mm-hmm.
She said she didn't call us when we were on vacation because she didn't want us to bother us while we were on vacation. There was nothing we could have done anyway.
Good idea. See how smart your mother-in-law is?
Very smart. Very smart.
Good.
So we directly after that, we called the kennels, and my wife talked to her, and my wife lost it. She was bawling, and I got on the phone, and I told her, I said, how can you tell me that my dog was stolen? It was the only dog stolen. She said, well, it was, and I told her I was to be right there. I went down there to talk to her person to person.
Now, the kennel and your vet are two different people, is that
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay, go ahead. So you went down, you spoke to the kennel people. What happened next?
Well, she called 5 minutes after I got off the phone.
Fine, so that's what I said before.
I'm
She
sorry.
called you.
She called me 5 minutes after I got off the phone with the kennels.
Did you ever call your vet?
Yes.
Pay careful attention to what I'm asking you. When you called your vet, did your vet advise you that they had received a telephone call days before from the plaintiff?
No.
Did you ask them?
Yes.
And what did they say?
They said they received a telephone call from her asking about our dog.
Well, that's what I'm asking you, sir. I'm not playing with you.
I'm sorry. I
They
didn't understand the
received a
question.
telephone call from the plaintiff days before
Yes, ma'am.
saying, I found this dog. Here is the tag number.
No, ma'am. They called. She said that the information that they asked was they wanted to know about the dog. They wanted to know information about my dog. They did not tell her that they'd found my dog. They said they wanted to know information about my dog because it had seizures.
Oh, I don't think that that's true, Mr. Oldman. I think you're making that up, sir.
I've got a letter from the veterinarian.
I don't think that that's true, sir. Mr. Oldham.
I've got a letter from the veterinarian also.
Yeah, I'd like to see both letters.
It's just showing my dog.
Shh. All right. This is a letter dated July 27th. Just save me a phone call because I'm not stupid. This is what he's going to tell me if I call. I had a phone conversation about a month ago with a lady who had found a poodle on Interstate 30. She was attempting to find the owner of the dog and reported that the dog had seizures. The dog had been vaccinated at our clinic, and she had obtained the name and phone number of the owner and stated that she attempted to contact him. This is from your vet.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Ah. Now, did the kennel pay you any money?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
How much money did the kennel pay you?
She gave me $500 for her irresponsibility and compensation.
Baloney! I absolutely believe the plaintiff when she said to me that she was told there was a reward. Not a reward that you were going to pay for the dog, but a reward that the kennel was offering for the dog.
No, ma'am. I mean,
No, ma'am.
I went up there to get my dog from the kennels.
Yeah.
After I got it, it was infested with fleas. I took it to the kennels and I said, would you please dip it? It's infested with fleas. The conversation we had between her was that we believed that she had something to do with the stealing of my dog.
I want to tell you something, Mr. Oldham. There is something wrong with your mind. Why would somebody who stole your dog call the vet, report that she had found this dog, say, I don't understand it. The dog has seizures. Could you help me out? I don't know what to do with the dog has seizures. Then pick up the phone and try to call you. Now, there's no question she had been trying to call you continuously because she called you on the day you returned from vacation. You think that that was just an act of God that she called you just on that day? She had been calling you continuously all week. What you did was the wrong thing. You should have paid her yourself for finding your dog. Instead, the kennel, who was responsible for lax security, offered a reward. She found the dog. She wasn't even looking for the reward. She wasn't. She was promised the reward because she was told that there was a reward. And then you went, picked up the money, and kept it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 238 on the calendar in the matter of McKee versus Granados. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. McKee, you have a daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant has a pit bull, right? Excuse me, Bird. Could you ask this young lady to either get a sweater or to get out? It's a courtroom.
A little improper decorum.
Hmm?
You can find a sweater, you can come back in.
Now, it is your complaint, Ms. McKee, that the defendant's pit bull bit your daughter. The defendant does not deny that his pit bull bit your daughter, but he said it was her fault.
Correct.
Okay. Tell me your first name.
Rosemary?
Rosemary, do you remember when this happened?
Yes.
Tell me when.
It was July 20th at approximately 12:30.
In the afternoon?
Yeah.
Would you feel more comfortable talking to me up here, or you want to stay near your mom?
There.
Come on.
Okay.
Okay. Drop your papers. Want me to hold them for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, July 20th, where were you?
I was riding my bike across the street from my house by the thrift store wall.
And did you see the defendant and his dog?
Yeah.
Tell me what happened.
I was riding my bike and then I stopped. He was with a painter that was painting the wall, and I stopped and I asked the painter what he was painting, and he said he was writing.
He was writing?
Yeah, he was writing. And then they both started laughing, and then so I started riding my bike and I pedaled like 3 or 4 times, and then the dog like went out and grabbed me.
Where did the dog grab you?
Right here on my leg.
On your leg?
Yeah. And I fell off my bike and I was screaming. They pulled the dog off of me. And
The defendant and the painter?
yeah, and another guy. And then he asked me if he wanted to carry me, and I said no. So I hobbled to the I hopped on this leg to the closest stairs by a building, and I sat there screaming and crying, and my friend went to go get my mom, and my mom was like really worried and stuff, and he kept saying he's sorry, and then all these people were watching, and they were like, what happened? And he said that I was trying to touch the dog and get close to him and like petting him and stuff, but I didn't even look at him or anything.
Did you have to go to the hospital?
Yeah, he called the ambulance on his cell phone.
He did?
Yeah.
Did the ambulance come?
Yeah, in like 45 minutes.
How many stitches did you need?
26.
Do you have a scar on your leg?
Yeah.
I would like to see it, so I'm going to come down.
Okay.
Unless I can see it from here. That's quite a bad scar.
Yeah.
Did you see the scar on her leg?
I haven't seen it, no, ma'am.
Why don't you go stand next to your mom?
Okay. And there are the pictures when I got stitches if you want to see them.
Why don't you take a look at her leg? Because you should be able to see what I see. Okay, Mr. Granados, I read your answer. Why don't you tell me your version of what happened?
It's pretty much the same story, Your Honor. Besides that, she did try to pet the dog.
How did you try to pet the dog, Mr. Granados?
He was confined. He was on a leash.
Yes.
A 2-foot leash, which I was holding him the whole time. He was laying down next to the wall in the sidewalk, and she drove her bike up to both of us.
Where you were standing with the painter. By the way, what was the person painting?
A mural over some gang graffiti
Like,
So she drove up and she said to the painter, "What are you painting?"
Correct.
Did anybody answer her?
I believe my friend answered her yes.
And what did the friend say?
A mural.
Is that what he said?
He said it's writing.
Writing.
Yeah.
At what point did she attempt to pet the dog?
Prior to that, she had rode her bike back and forth. So I really don't know exactly how many times she rode by, but around right after she had talked, it happened really quick.
No,
so.
I'm trying to picture this in my mind, sir. She's on her bicycle.
Okay.
She's a little girl on her bicycle.
Correct.
See, if she was attempting to pet your dog, then the bite would have been on her arm. If she was on her bike, pedaling away, that is consistent with the injury that she has, because it's a bite mark to the back of her leg. So you explain to me how she was bitten when she attempted to, much better. Sit down.
I'll explain
When
it to you.
she attempted to pet your dog, explain to me how she was bitten.
Okay. She was sitting on the bike. She reached over her bike to pet the dog. Her leg is closer to the dog than her arm is. She never got a chance to actually pet the dog. I had him on the leash, though, so I pulled him away like, no, because I was surprised that she was actually trying to pet the dog.
Why?
Because she didn't know the dog. She didn't know if it's a, I have a,
Okay,
he's a
so
big
you
dog.
pulled the dog away.
I pulled him away.
Right, and then she went to pedal away.
No, that's not how it happened.
Well, if you pulled the dog away, how did she end up with that scar on her leg?
Like I just said, when she reached over to pet the dog, he snapped at her. He bit her.
Good. Whose fault is that?
I believe it's her fault because she shouldn't have been trying to pet the dog. I had him on the leash. So
I don't believe she was trying to pet the dog, sir. I don't believe you. Don't believe you this much.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 10-year-old Rosemary McKee says she was bitten by Damian Granado's pit bull. Damian says Rosemary startled the dog.
She's on her bike. The injury that she sustained is totally consistent with the story that she tells, that she stopped, asked a question, and you and your friend laughed, and then she was pedaling away. She was pedaling away, and your dog just went for her leg. I don't buy this leaning over to try to pet the dog. If she's leaning over to try to pet the dog, that dog would have bit her on the arm, her hand, not the back of her leg. It's totally inconsistent with common sense. Were you there?
No.
So what are you doing here?
I came to pick the dog up. I'm a roommate.
You came to pick the dog up from where?
From the scene.
So?
I had called her because I had called the animal control people right after I called the paramedics.
Yeah.
Because I was scared, I was scared. I didn't know what to do with the whole situation. So I called the paramedics first, and I called the animal control, and they said, come remove the dog.
I mean, she didn't try to torment your dog with a stick. She didn't kick your dog.
No, she didn't.
Even if I believed you, which I don't. She didn't try to torment, she didn't kick, she didn't scream, she didn't yell, right?
No, I think the bike actually is what scared the dog.
Well, that's what's in the street. Bicycles, cars, things. You know.
Yeah,
If you have a pit bull, then you get a muzzle. If you have a pit bull, you get a muzzle. Aren't there other breeds of dogs that perhaps you might be interested in?
Well, the animal control people said it's not safe to have your muzzle on a dog because it restrains his breathing, and he's never had any prior attacks, so I had never...
Now he has had one. She has to be compensated. She's got a scar that's going to last for the rest of her life.
Correct.
Yeah? So
Correct.
What kind of compensation did you offer her? Did you offer to pay her medical bills?
Yes, I did. I called the mother after. I gave her all my information, my phone number.
Is that true?
No, ma'am. He has never called me.
You mean from the time this incident happened in July and your daughter was taken away by ambulance, he has not called you to inquire as to how she is?
Yes, Your Honor. He has never called to any concern at all, other than the fact that his pit bull might be put to sleep. That was his only concern.
Well, how did he relay that concern to you?
He was just about crying while he was on the cell phone while we were waiting for the ambulance.
After that, after your daughter was taken away by ambulance?
He has never called.
Still have the dog?
Correct.
I assume you spoke to a plastic surgeon?
Yes, ma'am.
When does a plastic surgeon indicate that they may be able to make some headway with regard to correcting the scar that she has?
Well, that would be 6 months to a year, which would include scar revisal, which would include removing the scar 3 times and sewing it back together.
Why in the world, Mr. Granados, would you keep a dog that you know is capable of inflicting this kind of injury over, if I believed you, which I don't, over a child coming over just to pet your dog? Why would you keep a dog like that?
Prior to that, I did not know he was capable of any type of injury. We have kids at our house, and
You have kids at your house?
Correct. And
How
to
many
this
kids
day,
do you have at your house?
well, just her nephew comes over once or twice a week.
You're an idiot. Judgment for the plaintiff and the amount requested, $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The police would not come because the dog was leashed.
Honestly, I'm devastated. If that happened to my nephew, if the dog ever did that.
The animal department would not come because after the attack, the dog was put into a car and contained.
I mean, they had somebody from the city come to the house, and they said the house was safe and secure.
And they interviewed the dog.
Judge Judy has finally let my daughter Rosemary have a little justice.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Arvizu versus Lawrence, step forward, please.
36-year-old police officer Edward Arvizu claims Deborah Lawrence's daughter, 14-year-old Autumn, made unauthorized phone calls on his calling card.
Mr. Arvizu, you have a daughter,
Yes, I do.
and the defendant has a daughter.
Yes.
And your 2 girls were best friends
Yes.
for a long time. For how long?
About 8 years.
And then I gather that there was a time when your nephew, who lived out of state, came to visit you for a while.
Yes, it was early of April this year.
And the defendant's daughter sort of developed an attachment for your nephew.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then he went back home.
Yes.
What state do you come from?
Arizona.
And what state does nephew come from?
California.
After he went home, you got a whopping telephone bill.
Yes, I did.
$1,042.42. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So did you call the phone company and
I noticed that I recognized all of the numbers.
whose numbers were they?
The originating number was from my sister's house, where my nephew lives, and
What were these, collect calls or?
calling card.
Calling card?
Yes.
Oh, so somebody got a hold of your calling card.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The numbers that the calls were placed to were also familiar. My daughter said, "That's Autumn's number, Dad." So
That's Autumn.
Yes.
So what did you do next?
I called my sister, sent her a copy of the bill. She was not happy, but was willing to accept the responsibility. And I also did the same thing with Autumn's mother, sent her a copy of the bill. She
I
told
was
me...
never mailed a copy of the bill.
She told me that I got a call back a few days later that she would only accept responsibility for the calls that Autumn made. And at this point on the first bill, it was only like $12.96.
Okay. Well, that would be fair, to only accept responsibility for the calls that Autumn made. But then you got another bill.
Yes.
What was the next bill?
$1,451.40.
And how much of that bill is attributed to phone calls that Autumn made?
I only have it figured out with tax and from the prior month. For the second month, $1,349.35.
So she made all the calls?
Yes.
Next month. Plus $1,296.
Yes.
So $1,352.31.
When their nephew came to visit, a crush happened for both of them. It wasn't just one. She was 13, he was 17. Their son drove the nephew home, and apparently the son had left his wallet there because he had expressed to Autumn he needed to mail it back. How he got the PIN number, I do not know. But the calls originated from him. When he spoke to my daughter, he said, "Call me at this number," and...
He gave her a calling card.
Well, he didn't give her a card. He gave her
the number.
a card number and
okay.
a pen number.
Autumn, did you recognize the number on that card?
At first.
You've called that number many times over the last 8 years, isn't that right? Because your friend lives there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you realize that card had the same telephone number as your friend, as the Arvizus, right?
Yes.
Who'd you think was going to pay for that?
I didn't think about it at
Right, you didn't think about it. That's the
when
bottom line of it.
When he gave her the number and the pen number, the only calling cards that Autumn has ever had are the ones that you buy in stores, The PIN numbers are not attached. They're ones that you create. And he told her this was, you make your own PIN number. You make your own, you have the number, but you don't have a PIN number. You make your own.
So what?
He told her it was his.
So what?
And that this was okay, and that when she asked how many minutes were on it, he said unlimited.
Did you have that whole conversation with him?
Yes.
You see, 13-year-olds are very smart, Ms. Laurent. 13-year-olds are so smart when it comes to these numbers. They know all about that.
No, they don't. No,
yeah,
at
they
least
do.
not my daughter does not.
Well, who do you think should pay this $1,349.35? Him?
No, I think that the nephew should.
He's 17. He's not responsible to pay anything.
He is the one who got the number. There is no way that she could have.
Listen to me.
She would
Listen
not
to me.
have done anything that would have caused somebody to pay a lot of money.
Responsibility. She lives in your house, right?
Yes, she does.
Did she use your telephone to call him?
Yes, she did.
To call him. How much of a phone bill did you get?
Because he gave her a number for a calling card that was prepaid.
Answer my question. Did she use your telephone?
No. Yes, she used my telephone.
But she did not bill it to you?
No.
And that's because she knows that calling costs money.
Yes. But
you know how long you have to sit on the phone to work up a bill of $1,362.31? A very, very long time.
Yes.
Now, in the second month, most of those calls came from her.
Well, he would page her on her pager using the calling card, and then she would return the call.
Your Honor, I have the bills here that show how many times she called. The times are on the bill.
Oh, she called him and sat on the phone with him, right?
Yes.
Is this the nephew?
Yes, it is.
Step up here. What's your name?
Brandon.
Where'd you get the card from?
I found it on the floor in my cousin's room.
And you knew it was the wrong thing to do to have it, right?
No, I didn't find the card. I just found the number.
The number?
Yeah, it was written down on a piece of paper.
So what'd you use it for?
At the time, I wasn't thinking.
Well, you weren't thinking a lot.
Pretty much.
What happened in the second month? You stopped calling so much.
I just didn't call. I just paged her, and then she'd call me back.
Why?
I don't know. I just
What do you mean you don't know?
I didn't.
Did you get in trouble with your mother?
No.
Did your mother say anything about the first bill?
The second bill did not show up until, wasn't even knowledgeable until after they had stopped making calls because of the way that they mail out the bills. There was no knowledge of a second month until after the calls had stopped.
You have to accept responsibility for what your daughter did.
My daughter didn't do anything intentionally. She trusted this boy. He told her it was a calling card number that was prepaid.
What? So what?
She
He's
would
the
never
innocent.
have done it. She would never have used it because she adores this family. She's known
What
them for
grade are you
many
in
years.
school?
9th.
How do you do in school?
Good.
Let me hear what was your grade last semester in math?
A.
What was your grade in English?
A.
What was your grade in social studies?
A.
So you're not stupid.
No.
No, but
Judgment for the
naive to
plaintiff in the
world.
amount of $1,362.31. Don't avoid responsibility. It's
I
a
was
very,
not avoiding
very
it.
bad lesson and message to send to your daughter.
No, it was
That's
a
all.
bad
Parties are
message for him.
excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 209 on the calendar in the matter of Moore versus Optional. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Ms. Moore, it is your claim that the defendant assaulted you by biting you
Correct.
after some sort of an altercation at a bar.
Yes.
So first tell me when this occurred.
This incident occurred on June 15th of 2000 between 2:15 in the morning.
Okay, where had you been earlier that evening?
I was at a local tavern very close to my house. I had just gone in and was drinking a few beers when...
What time had you arrived there?
Between 10 and 10:30, I would say, that night.
Okay, go ahead.
The defendants came in and
The defendant came in. Was she with other people? You said they came in.
It was Tina Hall and Sarah Upsall.
Had you known them from before that evening?
I had not known Sarah. I had known Tina because I've had some previous problems with her in the past.
What time did they come in?
About 2 o'clock. I know that it was definitely after 2 o'clock because the bartender wouldn't serve them because she had already called last call. So they were not allowed any beverages. And that's in essence what the start fighted over was because Tina just walked up to my spot at the bar while I was shooting pool and stole my beer and started drinking my beer. And
Your glass, shh. Your glass of beer?
It was a mini pitcher.
So you
She
saw
just-
Tina, that's this young lady.
I saw both of them walk up. Tina sat in the chair that I actually was sitting in, and I said, "Hey, you're drinking my beer." And
You said to Tina?
I said to Tina, and she turned around and looked at me, and she said, "No, I'm not. Shut up." And one of the persons that was giving me a ride home had said, "Hey, look, you know what? This girl's a troublemaker. Let's just get out of here." I set my pull stick down, and we exited the bar.
Did you have a car that evening?
I did.
And were you driving?
No.
Who was driving?
I was getting a ride home from an older gentleman who was a friend of my mother's, and also another gentleman around the same age as me.
So why didn't you drive home?
Because I felt like I was too drunk. I shouldn't be driving.
Okay, so you got a ride home. That's smart.
Yes.
And what happened?
We exited the front door and began walking towards the parking lot. The defendants came out and were yelling and screaming that they wanted to beat me up, we're going to kick your butt, you told on us. What had happened, I found out the next day from the bar owner, was that they were caught drinking the beer and were kicked out and asked to leave because they were not served. So just at the time as they were making their way out of the front exit, the other man that was with us was making his way out of the rear exit, and they kind of met. They were yelling and screaming at him, "Where is she? We want to beat her up. We're going to take care of this right now."
You heard them?
I heard them. I was just getting into the car at that point. He walked in and got into the vehicle we were riding in and shut the door, and he rolled the window down in an effort, I guess, to kind of get the last word in or whatever.
To say something stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Sarah just hit him dead in the face. And
That is...
Shh. No way. Wait a second. Go ahead.
From there, we couldn't believe it, and I was telling the driver, just go, take off, and they were either punching or kicking on the windows of the car, trying to break the windows.
Whatever.
We exited through an alley that was just off of the parking lot, and by the time that we turned onto the street, they were in their vehicle already following us.
Did you go home? You being dropped off?
I did not go home because I didn't want these girls to know where I lived, and I didn't want to have a fight with them. And they chased us around town for a good 15 to 20 minutes.
But there came a time when you did go home?
Yes.
Now what happened when you got home? Because that's where this incident took place.
Well, the whole time that they were chasing us, they were yelling and screaming things out of the windows and stuff. And when we pulled up in front of my house, they, of course, came to a dead stop behind us. And the male on the passenger side, I was sitting in the middle of the front seat, he told me, "Just wait in the car, and I'll take care of these girls. We'll get rid of them." Both of the girls just kind of flew out of their vehicle and immediately started attacking him, beating on him, on his head and his face, and he did this kind of like football maneuver, I would call it, and he knocked them both down, and they got up, continued to beat on him. At one point, he actually...
I don't want to hear from you yet.
She is lying.
Did you hear what I said? I don't want to hear from you yet.
But she is just...
I don't want to hear from you yet.
I know.
I don't like to raise my voice. You will have an opportunity to answer all of my questions.
Okay. At one point, he actually had taken Tina by the shoulders and walked her to the vehicle, sat her in the seat, shut the door, and was about to do the same to Sarah. Tina got back out. They continued to beat on him. And that's when I made the stupid decision to get out of the car because I thought I was going to try to help stop it. And as soon as I got out of the car and I shut the door, Sarah was already approaching me. And I did not hesitate, and I began to beat her up. I had lost my temper by that point.
And what happened?
We had a knockdown, drag-out, rolling on the ground, beating each other fight. And what it came down to was I was getting the better of her, and she bit my arm to get away from me. At that point, the fight broke up, and I started to walk up to get on my front porch to go in my house. Just as soon as I turned my back to get on my porch, he flew down the stairs, told me to look out. They were both closing in on me, trying to continue the fight. And Sarah and I did continue again for probably another 5 minutes fighting.
Okay, so am I correct, Miss Moore, that, I want you to answer my questions honestly, that when you got out of the car and the defendant came and, as you said, rushed you, you struck her first?
Yes, I did.
And that started the brawl?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Ms. Opsel, You're at the bar.
Yes.
There's some words passed between you.
First of all, I did not even talk to Cindy. I was talking with the bartender.
Okay.
I did not drink her beer.
Okay. There was some words passed. Now, what I want to know is, you left at approximately the same time as the plaintiff left.
Yes.
Who was driving?
I was.
You were sitting in the passenger seat?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you live in relation to the plaintiff?
I live in Wisconsin. It's over the bridge from her.
So nowhere near the plaintiff?
No.
What were you doing at her house?
I thought we were invited to an after-hours party.
Well, explain that to me. Shh. Explain that to me.
We were outside the tavern, and I thought Tina got invited because she knew them to this after party.
Well, let's get a hold of Tina. Tina, come up and stand up here. Who invited you to a party?
I don't know that I was even invited. We were just
I thought she was.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cindy Moore says, after an argument in a bar, Sarah Opsel followed her home. Cindy claims a fight ensued, and Sarah bit her on the arm.
You didn't know about any party?
No, ma'am.
So now, what made you think you were invited to a party?
Because Tina knew these two, the plaintiff.
What I'm asking you, madam, is what made you think, if Tina didn't know anything about a party, what made you think that you were going to a party?
Because we got in the vehicle and we were following them.
Well, my question is, what made you follow them?
Because I thought we were invited to the party.
What telepathic message had you received that you were invited to a party?
Because she said follow them.
Tina said?
Yeah.
Even she's laughing at you.
She's not laughing.
Even she's laughing at you.
No, she's not.
Tina said follow them. And that's all she said to you. Follow them. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes. You are just... You're trying to put words in my mouth.
No, I'm not. I want to know what you were doing. You live in a different state from the plaintiff.
Yes.
In a different state. There were clearly words exchanged, not necessarily between you and the plaintiff, but perhaps between Tina and the plaintiff outside the bar. You get into your car. Instead of going home at 2:30 in the morning, you follow the car around town for a while because Tina told you to follow them. And you assumed it was to go to a party.
Yes.
Okay. You had no business being there.
Being where?
At her house.
I wasn't at her house.
Now, yes, you were. You were at her house. Now, once at her house, Tina, you tell me what happened when you pulled up in front of her house.
When we got to her house, we all exited the vehicles.
Who's all?
Sarah, myself, Cindy, and her boyfriend or friend at the time. We were having words. I don't know.
You mean as soon as you got out of the car, there started to be an altercation?
Yes. And
not a party. Not a party.
Apparently
not at the time.
Apparently not.
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
And her friend came up to me and literally did take me by the shoulders, but he didn't put me in the vehicle. He slammed me up against the vehicle. And then she seen that this was happening, so Sarah came over by me and asked him not to do that. You don't do that. And then somewhere along the line, that's when Cindy came over to her and bit her. There was no slapping. There was no punching, no rolling around, none of that.
Who bit whom?
Sarah did bite Cindy, but Cindy was coming at her.
Self-defense.
Self-defense. Not in my book. You wouldn't have been there to have to defend yourself if you hadn't followed them home looking for a fight.
I wasn't looking for a fight.
Oh, yes, you were.
No, I
looking for a fight.
I was
not looking for a party. Looking for a fight.
Why would
Where
I
did she
look
bite
for
you?
a fight?
I have no idea, madam. I have no idea why you're out 2:30 in the morning looking for a drink, period. And I have no idea why, if you live in one state, you followed her home to her house, which is in another. I'm speaking, which is in another
over
state.
The bridge. It is not another state to state.
I lived in Michigan. She lived in Wisconsin.
Just a minute. That's another state. I'm not really good at geography, but one state is Michigan, one state is Wisconsin. I don't care if it's just over a bridge. It's not your house.
I know
you followed her to her house. And you followed her to your house because she said, follow him. You said, oh, I guess she means follow. We're going to have a party with all these people who we didn't get along with at the tavern. All right, madam, I want you to step up here and I want to see where she bit you.
I don't even know Cindy to look for a fight.
That's a good bite. Did you see a doctor?
I did see a doctor. I have my medical reports here.
Can I see it?
As well as photographs that documented what the injury was like.
Okay.
Did you make a police report about this?
The police were called by a neighbor at that time. I tried very hard to get the report before I came. I wasn't able to do so, and the police treated it very nonchalantly. The police told me that Sarah had came in earlier, had phoned and said that I beat her up, and they just didn't really take the case
I never
very
even talked to
seriously
the
at all.
cop about that.
Yes.
What the police actually had said that night was that they weren't there to witness anything, and there were two sides to the story, as is now. And
No, there's only one side to the story.
Well,
Madam,
at
there's
that
only
point-
one side to the story. If you weren't...
There are
if you-
always two sides to every story.
No, that's what a court is for.
Exactly.
That's what a court is for. And but for the fact that you and your friend followed her to her house, this incident would not have happened. And you and I both know that you weren't following her to her house to go to a party. You were following her to her house because there was bad blood. When that started, I haven't a clue. But you precipitated this because they were on their way home. You weren't on your way home. You were on your way looking for trouble, and you found it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She lied. If it weren't for Tina, none of this would have ever happened.
Right. She did not lie.
She did.
Don't she
You
did.
weren't
You
even
guys
there.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Anderson versus Liebler, step forward, please.
22-year-old homemaker Shauna Anderson is suing her ex-boyfriend, 21-year-old clerk Caleb Liebler, for an unpaid loan for bail. Caleb says he paid her back.
Miss Anderson, the defendant was a former boyfriend of yours.
Yes.
There came a time when you were angry with him about something, and according to you, you knew that he had stolen something.
Yes.
A stereo, a car stereo. And in order to get back at him, you told the person from whom he had stolen the stereo that he stole the stereo. Is that right?
It wasn't really to get back at him. I knew the person.
And a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You weren't being a good Samaritan.
No.
He was arrested.
Yes.
And you felt a little bit guilty, so you decided you would help him out and bail him out.
Yes.
The bail money was $500.
Yes.
Then, according to you, he asked you if he could use that bail money to pay his lawyer.
Yes.
You said, okay, but it's a
Yes.
loan.
Yes.
Now, you, Mr. Liebler, acknowledged that it was a loan.
Yes.
Your defense is that you paid her back.
Yes.
Okay? So now we have the facts, and now you have to show me how you paid her back, right?
Yes.
When did you take the $500 and give it to the lawyer? What date?
Sometime in April.
April
of
5th.
2000.
Of 2000?
Of 2000. This case is 14 months old.
When did you pay her back?
I paid her back from that point on until I left for jail at the end of August.
How did you pay her?
I paid her in...
Now look at me. Don't look at
I'm
the
sorry.
sky.
I paid her back in payments. We worked together at Friendly's. We lived together.
From April until August?
Earlier than that.
He did not live. No.
I lived with her
Don't
in that
speak.
residence from February until May.
When did you start paying her back? After you
I
separated?
started paying her back after I left.
After you left the house?
I went back home, still working with her though, at Friendly's. We ended up getting back together.
Okay.
I did not move back with her. I stayed at home, but we were together.
You saw each other?
Right.
Fine.
And whenever she needed money on the weekends, she'd come up to me saying, "You owe me money. I need money this weekend. I'm broke. Can I get paid? You know, can you give me something?" So I would give her $60, $80 here and there. She does not have a license. She doesn't have a car.
Don't go into extraneous stuff.
I'm
You
not.
would give her $60, $80.
I'm not.
You have to tell me when.
When? On weekends, Fridays, Saturday nights.
May
Like,
2000.
I don't want to hear from you now. It's up to him to convince me that he's paid you back. So I have weekends, $60 or $80.
Yeah, from
correct?
the end of May through June, on weekends, Friday, Saturday nights. She comes up to me at work. I want to go to a rave. I want to go to the club. I want to go out this weekend. I have no money. Do you have something for me? Would she even ask me for a receipt, but I'm being at work. I'm a cook. I'm greasy and stuff like that. I'm not going to take a receipt and stuff in my pocket. So I just never asked for a receipt. I would give her money on weekends. She lived a half an hour from her job, so there was certain times where I'd actually give her money for hotel rooms to stay in, so she did not have to drive back up to Saratoga, you know, to go home, because she doesn't have a car. Sometimes we'd work until 2 o'clock in the morning. I paid for hotel rooms just for her to stay in.
You stayed in them too.
Right. Right?
Sometimes.
All the time.
Not all the time.
Miss Anderson,
we
stop doing the weave dance and keep your mouth closed until I ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
What else, Mr. Liebler?
What else? I'll have to say that while I was living with her, there was many expenses.
No, I'm not talking about before. Before May, I'm not interested in.
I gave her money, handouts, whenever she needed it.
Handouts is not the return of a loan.
But that's what it was in terms of. That's what she'd bring up.
Just a
She'd bring up, you owe me money.
Mr. Liebler, you added in this pot motel rooms that you paid for that you also stayed in.
No, not all the time.
Yeah.
How many times?
I'd say twice. I'd say at least twice. At
least twice, maybe 3 times.
No, twice.
Well, get a receipt. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. Next time, get a receipt.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 226 on the calendar in the matter of Stouch versus Stalling. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Stouch, was this a first wedding for both of you?
First for him, second for me.
According to your complaint, you booked the defendant's hall for your wedding.
Correct.
You were unhappy with what you saw when you finally saw it, and you want her to give you back all kinds of money, including a whole bunch for your aggravation.
Yes.
When was your wedding scheduled?
August 11th.
And when did you book the defendant's hall?
Right around June 5th.
Where is the defendant's hall located?
In Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
And where were you living?
Kansas City, Kansas.
Why were you getting married in Arkansas?
Well, we've learned a lot about Arkansas, about Eureka Springs, a nice little village, and...
How far is it from...
It's 5 hours, but there's a lot of wedding chapels in Eureka.
So you mean you were schlepping everybody out there, this 5-hour drive?
Yeah, a lot of his family and friends are from
the area.
That's what I'm getting at. So a lot of your family was actually there already?
They were within 2 hours away.
Okay. And you booked the place sight unseen?
Over the internet, we found it.
Over the internet, but sight unseen. You never went to look at it?
Right.
You never went to look at it? You never had any of your family or friends who live in Arkansas go to look at it?
No, my family is 2 hours away from Arkansas.
That's okay. A 2-hour trip. Which family? You have parents, sisters, brothers?
Sisters, brothers, and
So you say to your brother or your sister, do me a favor, take a ride up to this place. I saw it on the internet. You know, I think it's a nice place. I'd like you to take a look at it and make sure it's, you know, what we think it is. All right. So you went to look at the chapel how much before the wedding?
We showed up a day before the wedding. We had no reason to believe that it wasn't going to be a nice place. The pictures on the internet shows us it's nice. We're not supposed to just assume that it's a, you know, a dump.
Well, that's what you found. According to you, you found that it was a dump, right?
According, yes, but the internet pictures were totally different.
How much of a deposit had you given her?
A $200 deposit.
And she was supposed to provide other things as well. Food, right?
She supplied food.
Cake?
Cake.
Now, you got there a day before you saw this place, and it was, according to you, a dump.
Very much so.
So what'd you do?
Spent the whole next day trying to find a new place. I went to the Chamber of Commerce. I went to try to get a hold of her. It took many hours to get a hold of her. The Chamber finally got a hold of her for us. I explained to her that we couldn't get married there. She refused to give us any money back. Then the Chamber actually got a hold of her, and she decided to give us $275 and give us the food and the cakes. But the cake was, in my opinion, unedible. It tasted like the place smelled.
Shh. I'd just like to see some photographs if you have them. I'm not to you yet.
There's before, what it was supposed to look like. Then there's some. We have quite a few that we've taken of what it actually looks like.
Okay.
And if you'll notice, the floor is completely destroyed. And on the internet picture, it looks like the floor is brand new.
This is the picture that you're showing me of what the inside of the chapel looked like on the internet,
Yes.
right? Do you have this picture?
No.
Well, and I can't tell what it looked like, what this picture looked like.
Do they have a picture of it being destroyed, the floor being destroyed?
Yes, we do.
They have pictures of the floor looking a little bit seedy, but
That's where we have to stand when we were getting married.
That doesn't impress me one way or another. One are outside pictures and one are inside pictures.
Correct.
So let me understand this. You gave her a $200 deposit.
Yes.
She gave you back $275, right?
Correct.
She gave you all the food, right?
Correct.
So what do you want?
We paid more than $275. We didn't pay just a $275 deposit.
Well, what did you pay?
Yeah, the total was $857.53. We also had to come up with another $857 to get married somewhere.
On a last minute.
On that day, we had to find another place to get married. There was no way we could have got married there.
Based upon the pictures that you show me, I don't see that there's any way that you couldn't gotten married there.
Would you have gotten married there?
I don't know. I can't tell from your pictures, sir.
Look at the outside. There's beer bottles outside.
I'm not talking about the outside. I'm talking about the inside.
Well, the outside has a lot to do with it.
Listen
Beer
to me. You're
bottles?
talking, hey, don't speak to him.
I'm sorry.
You're talking about misrepresentation. Do you understand? You're talking about misrepresentation. You showed me a picture on the internet, this photograph.
Correct.
So what I asked you is, show me this picture of what this area was when you arrived. You don't have that picture. So I cannot make a judgment as to whether this picture misrepresented to you what the place looked like. You got a responsibility. Listen, I made a lot of weddings in my life, got a lot of kids, and I got married a couple of times myself. I never chose a place to get married based upon a picture. Never.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tony and Nicole Stouch say they rented Cheryl and Stallings' wedding site via the internet. The Stouches say the location turned out to be a dump.
Now, if she gave you $275 back in cash, plus she gave you all the food for the wedding.
There's no way we could have came up with the food and the cake.
We had to take the food. We didn't want the food. We had less than 24 hours left.
Did you have other people cater the wedding?
No, she was
So
in
you
charge of
used
catering.
that food to feed your people.
If we didn't use that food, we would have been out food and cake. We had to use that food, yes. we
So
did.
you used it. That's what you
Yes,
used to feed
but
your...
it was awful.
I've been to weddings where the chicken was rubbery myself. That doesn't mean that the people sued them.
He works evenings, I work days. There was no possible way to even, I mean, we couldn't have done it.
Let me explain something to you. That's your responsibility.
It's also her responsibility to have a website that the pictures and her place looks like. I mean,
That's your responsibility. You're planning a wedding. Some people may like to plan a wedding in a dungeon. Some people may think it's kinky. Some people like to get married jumping out of airplanes, holding hands with a rabbi, right? Not my thing. Some people like to get married at the top of a roller coaster. They think that that's interesting. It's not my thing. You were charged with the obligation of choosing a place. You chose this place based upon this picture.
And based on talking to her and telling us how nice it was.
Right. Well, what is she supposed to say? She's supposed to say it's not nice?
Well, it's not nice.
That's your fault. Send your sister over to the place and say, listen, we're contemplating doing this place. Do me a favor, take a 2-hour ride. I want to make sure that this place, the whole place, is similar to this one picture that I saw on the internet. You didn't do that.
Every
What are you
internet site-
complaining about? You got married. You had your family and friends there. You had food. The food wasn't great. You know what you do when you do a wedding? You go to the place and you say, this is the place? Good. Now I want a tasting. You're going to supply the food. I'd like to taste whatever you say that you're going to provide so that I can select a menu. That's what people do. If you're doing this thing over the phone, you run certain risks. You had opportunities. You work days, you work nights. I'm sure that both of you don't work 7 days a week.
6 days.
Well, that's not 7. On the 7th day, you travel. If it's so important to you to see what the place looks like and to select the menu, you get in the car and you go there and take a look to see what it's about. You don't come in kvetching later that the place didn't look nice when I got there. Listen, you got married, be happy. Goodbye. Case is dismissed.
All right, excuse, you may step out.
The Miracle Mansion is not the place to get married.
I'm not ashamed of my building.
My wedding was pretty much ruined.
And my website pictures are accurate.
It was awful.